Another week, another must-win for the Broncos. We're going to talk about it on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Another day, but a new Todd. Todd, you're looking fresh as hell.
Thank you, man. Just trying to get used to it, taking it one day at a time. But I think sooner or later I'll be used to it.
Man,
it looks great.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
It does.
Thank
8
you.
years.
8 years, yep.
Just like
Big change.
Broncos need some new juju after last week. You're giving it to them.
I'm doing everything I can to help. So
I was going to say, I think we've needed that for almost all 8 years.
Now we've got it for this playoff push. Ryan, big day for you as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys just want to talk about the Bucs getting the future number 1 drafted tackle, or what else would we talk about?
How big is this guy?
6'6", 320.
That'll do.
Yeah. He's insane. He's truly insane. Andre said the other day that you can count on less than 2 hands the amount of draft-eligible offensive linemen that possess his combination of length and strength.
Dang. That
And
is
he's
it.
18 years old.
Yep, that is impressive. Wow. And the Broncos could use him this weekend
Yeah.
because Khalil Mack leads the league in sacks. So I want to start there. Dive into this game right away. Who's the number 1 person you're most concerned of on this Chargers team, Todd?
Khalil Mack. I think that's it. I think everybody on the offensive side of the ball. Keenan Allen's having an okay year. Austin Ekeler is not himself. I think they're struggling. Justin Herbert is struggling. But the only person not struggling on the entire team is Khalil Mack. He's been a menace out there for plenty of games, 3 games with 2 sacks. I think he's going to be a problem for us. I think last week we didn't do well against our edge rushers, and our old tackles are going to have a lot on their plate this week, and they need to be able to step into the challenge.
Brian, do you agree?
No, I would say the person who scares me the most is Austin Ekeler. Because he brings a thing to the game that the Broncos haven't had to deal with a lot, which is an elite pass catcher out of the backfield. And that can cause a lot of issues for you defensively. And you can make things really hard on Justin Herbert, and Austin Ekeler can turn right around and make them easy on him. So they're going to need great tackling out in space. And I don't know. For whatever reason, I just feel like that's kind of what the Chargers fall back on. And I don't know if the Broncos have quite even had to show they can defend that. Really, hate to bring this up, but since the Dolphins game, having to really defend, running backs doing different things coming out of the backfield.
What do you think of Brandon Staley?
I think he's terrible.
Dang.
Well, I thought that was going to be your answer. And Ryan, Brandon Staley might be helping you and the way you feel about Austin Ekeler, because he, I think it was yesterday, put a very interesting quote out there. He said that they're looking into shaking up their running back room and maybe changing who their main running back is. So maybe you don't have to worry about Austin Ekeler, Ryan.
Well,
And
to be fair, I'm not that worried about him in the run game.
coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe their thought is that they want to actually run the ball between the tackles more and more effectively. I don't know how. Is it Isaiah Spiller? Who is it? CJ Spiller?
It is now Joshua Kelly.
Okay. What happened to Spiller?
I don't know.
Definitely got to be on the team. Maybe he's hurt. Anyways, maybe they feel like Kelly gives them a better chance to succeed in that part of the game. That being said, I'm always going to be a little bit worried about Ekeler coming out.
Yeah, and so far this year, you know who has more than 10 carries on their team, who leads the team in yards per attempt?
As far as running the ball?
Yep.
Justin Herbert.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
I've been with Zach for too long. I know how he sets things up.
Right now, Austin Ekeler, over the season, over 100 carries, averaging 3.5 yards per carry. That's not getting it done on the ground. Joshua Kelly averaging 4 yards per carry. Isaiah Spiller, only 12 carries on the year, averaging 2.3
Told
yards
you he's on the team.
per carry. Yep, you were right. You're spot on. And there's a reason he's not getting the ball, only 2.3 yards per carry. And then Justin Herbert averaging 4.4 yards per carry. So they do need to do something different. But what's crazy is at the beginning of the season, this would have been hands down Justin Herbert for me, just because of how he is just a guy that can throw for 5,000 yards and 35 touchdowns on the season. He has the most yards through 3 years of an NFL career of any quarterback ever.
Yep.
So he's a guy who should scare the hell out of you, and he just hasn't been that quarterback this year. So, Todd,
He actually has, though.
What do you
He's
mean?
been the same guy he's always been.
not really.
Yeah.
What I
He's
mean,
taken
though,
a step back.
I just
He
think
has.
people have woken up to the fact that his stats are empty. He's 20 touchdowns and 6 interceptions right now, over 3,000 yards. Like, he's still putting up the numbers.
Sure.
He just makes really untimely bad decisions. He doesn't play on time as much as you would like him to. And, you know, he throws a ball that's just really easy for Quentin Johnson to drop.
Oh my gosh,
Damn.
Quentin Johnson. He's had a tough couple of weeks, that's for sure. But you know what? He's their second receiver right now on the team. Keenan Allen has over 1,100 receiving yards. In terms of receivers, the next healthy guy is Quentin Johnson. He has 247 receiving yards on the season. That is insane, the drop-off. That's why Justin Herbert going through his progressions. It's Keenan Allen, Austin Ekeler.
Yeah.
And that's really it. That's why. So when it comes to who are you concerned about on their offensive side, Ryan, you're right. And I think you just put Pat on Keenan Allen all game.
Yep.
Don't complicate it. Don't let Fabian Moreau be on him more than a couple of snaps a game. And I like Moreau. I like what he's done, but Pat's your number one by far. That's why I used a top 10 pick on him. Make it as easy as that.
Yep.
And then maybe even give him some Justin Simmons help over top. And then when it comes to the run, or when it comes to Austin Ekeler, do whatever you have to. And so, Todd, when it's do whatever you have to shut down a running back like him coming out of the backfield, what does that look like?
You know, I think you play a lot of man-to-man because you want Pat and man-to-man versus what's his name?
Keenan
Allen. And that way he locks him down. And then the same thing is true for the running backs. You play like whole, so it's basically man-to-man, but you have 2-on-1 with the linebackers.
Okay.
And I think those are the only two options is Austin Ekeler and Keenan Allen. So you got two guys on Austin Ekeler. You got the best corner in the game on Keenan Allen. I think that's a great matchup, and I think would be successful because, like you said, they're not running the ball well. I mean, last week he had 14 attempts for 18 yards, like averaging 1.3. Like, we're not worried about running the ball. Just as long as we protect the passing game, I think we'll be solid.
And in that whole coverage, you're essentially giving one of the linebackers like a free reign, right, of the middle, and just saying like, hey, make sure if this is a Texas route or whatever, like you're closing down on the running back. Whereas if he doesn't come out, then you're going on to a tight end or something like that.
Exactly. So the other linebacker, no matter what, is going to have outside leverage on Austin Ekeler. So he has everything outside, anything coming back in. You have the other linebacker to help you, so you really can bracket every route.
I have to imagine as a linebacker, you like that?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it, because it's like as long as you stay to your leverage, like you can't be wrong.
Right.
Well,
right.
if
Makes
you
it
remember,
easy.
like when Chris Harris used to kind of talk about playing the slot and why it was so hard, he would say, the receiver can go in or out.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to cover both of those. Then you're asking linebackers to do the same thing on a guy like Austin Ekeler or worse, Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
And you realize why Christian McCaffrey can put up crazy numbers, or Austin Ekeler, even in the receiving game, has put up crazy numbers. It's just a lot to ask of those guys.
Yeah, it's not really fair.
Yeah.
Because you guys also have to cover the run, so you're built a little different.
Yep.
Where especially an Austin Ekeler type is more built for the passing game. Now, one of the things, and I'm happy you brought Chris Harris up and his versatility going inside and outside. One of the things that Sean Payton pointed to that makes Keenan Allen so difficult, and one of the things they do with him, is they use him all over the field. Not just outside on the left and right side, but they also use him inside in the slot. Maybe I'm just making it too simple, but I feel like Pat can do that, and Pat can follow him everywhere. But do you think there's going to be any hesitation, because you've been in countless, hundreds, thousands of defensive meetings where they'll say, no, we're just going to keep Pat on him on the outside, and then when Keenan's on the inside, it's going to be Jaquan.
Yeah, because it is kind of a different technique and a different approach to the game. Just like Pat reads it, he loves the right side that he always plays. Like, now you have to be more square. You have to be ready for every route, in, out. They run a lot of different slants. They run goals. So it's a lot of different concepts from the slot receiver. So you got to be able to adjust to it, and then that puts him in the run game a little bit more. Right. So we have to see how much Vance Joseph loves Pat playing on the edge, playing on the outside, being able to come up and stuff the run. for your number one corner and the best player in the team, you don't want him in the run game as much.
Yep.
You don't mind maybe like 1 or 2 tackles a game, but it's a different dynamic being there in the slot.
And also, Pat, his knee's fine. He got the MRI earlier this week. His knee's fine, but he was a limited participant in practice. And I would just assume that if you're not 100%, you'd like to be out of the run game a little more than usual. So that could come into a little bit. But man, if I would like Pat lined up on Keenan as much as possible.
It's going to be really frustrating when he's not on it. He gets a first down on 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
Really quick, just on Justin Herbert. I thought when I said, like, statistically he's been the same, that someone was going to be able to point to some other stat, and maybe there's, like, some EPA per play or something that I'm missing here that I'm not going to take the time to look up on Justin Herbert. But I even went to look at QBR, which is a lot of people's like, well, look at this. He might be putting up the numbers, but he's 5th in the league in QBR.
Yeah.
So, like, I really do think there's a lot of it is he's finally at the point of his career where people aren't willing to praise him just on numbers. And they're like, okay, well, when are the results going to come? And this happens to everyone, like, you go through any of the quarterbacks who blow up when they're young. It'll happen for CJ Stroud if they don't win anything significant in his first couple of years. It'll start to be like, well, why are these stats so empty? And it's not always the quarterback's fault. And in this case, I don't necessarily think it's Justin Herbert's fault, but I do think he got overhyped early in his career because he's able to put up stats, but those stats have always been empty.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. But he is able to move the ball in an instant. I mean, that Lions-Chargers game 4 weeks ago, 79 total points scored.
Yeah.
And then since
last
then,
week.
I was going to say, since then, it was the week after, I think it was like 47 points. The week after, it was 42 points collectively in their games. And then last week, it was 6 total points. But I'm gonna have to agree with Todd on this one. As crazy as it is, I'm going Khalil Mack. He's the one that scares me the most because of what we saw the past 2 weeks from this Broncos offensive line and pass protection. 2 weeks ago, they were incredible. They went up against the most dangerous pass rusher at the time, Myles Garrett, and made him not the most dangerous pass rusher in the NFL anymore. And in that exact same time, Khalil Mack became the most dangerous pass rusher in the NFL. So if they were playing the Chargers this week after what they just did to Myles Garrett, I'd be like, I'm still worried about Khalil Mack, but I saw what they did against an elite pass rusher. But then I saw Will Anderson and a guy I can't even remember the name of on the other side of the Texans defensive line just destroy the Broncos pass rush. And it doesn't help that there's a history of Khalil Mack doing very bad things to the Broncos.
Michael Schofield won't be out there this week.
That's good. But then also, not only does Khalil Mack lead the NFL in sacks at 15 right now, he's on pace for over 21 sacks. He's on pace to pretty much push the record of NFL sacks in a season. But Ryan, he's on the Chargers, and because Justin Herbert isn't guiding them to a winning record, people just aren't paying attention to what Khalil Mack's doing. And while Khalil Mack did have a 6-sack game earlier in the season, which is insane, over the past 5 games, he has 8 sacks. He has 4 2-sack games in the past 8 games. In the past 3 games, he has 2 sacks in every single game. So he's a guy that's hot, and I am worried about where this Broncos offensive line is. And if I am Sean Payton, I'm making this very simple. Don't let Khalil Mack beat me. If it's Chris Manhertz every single time that Khalil Mack's on the field, he's on that side. If it's a lot of Samaj P. Ryan, I have to imagine in this game, I'm okay with Jaleel not getting as many touches and not as many opportunities if it's to protect Russell Wilson from Khalil Mack.
This is one of those things, though, where I don't know if you can, but you would love to be able to trust Russ to escape sometimes. You're not going to be able to chip Khalil Mack on every play. Like, you just can't. So it's like you want to have some plays where you're like, okay, look, Russ, we're going 5 wide. We're putting, either whoever it is, whatever tackle, on an island with Khalil Mack. We need you to be hyper aware of what's going on over there. And just like, if he gets around the edge, step up and step into that pocket. If he comes inside, break outside and buy some time, because we know we're going to be able to win having 5 guys out there. And like, you used to be able to do that with Russ. Like, that was, one of Russ's magic tricks. It was just like, okay, well, you might be able to win as a pass rusher, but he's going to be able to dodge the first man. And I don't know if that's something you can still build into the game plan, but it'd be really nice if you could.
Would be.
I feel like we need, like, one really good chip to slow him down. Like I've seen clips over the years and even this year of like running backs or tight ends chipping a outside linebacker and like completely decleating him. I mean, it happened to Myles Garrett just a few weeks ago. Like we need just one of those to start the game so that he's just a little bit slower, a little bit more timid coming off the ball.
Is that like Cortland coming in on a crack?
Yeah, I don't care who it is. But somebody needs to just level him so that he can just kind of slow down a little bit.
Little Jordan Humphrey laying
I think I've
shoulder.
told this story before. That's what my dad used to always tell me before a game. It's like, first play, don't even worry about where the play's going. Just try and inflict your will on the guy in front of you.
Set the tone, baby.
Exactly.
If someone would have done that to me, I would have been like, yep, I'm done. See you guys. And you can catch this game over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And tonight, talk about an awful primetime game. We have the Steelers playing the Patriots. Two really good defenses against two awful offenses who have backup quarterbacks. And they're awful before their backup quarterbacks play. And now you throw backup quarterbacks in, you get the lowest over-under in the entire NFL since 1993. DraftKings wasn't even around when this there was a lower under than this. Have I told you guys what it is? Do you know what it is?
No.
Can you guys guess what the lowest over-under in the NFL is since 1993?
23.5.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we recently had the lowest college over/under
Which
ever.
was 20-something, right?
Yeah, it was
Iowa,
20. I think it was I think Iowa set the record and then broke their own record in the same
Probably.
year. I think it was originally 28.5 that we had never seen. Then it went down to 25.5 that we had never seen. So I am going to say this one is 30.5.
You're so close. You're half a point off. 30. 30 points is the over-under. And Todd, I might still take the under on your 23.5. I think this under is still going to hit. It's going to be an awful game. But if you want to get in on it, you can check out our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And actually, we're going to hit some props on this game over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So if you like how it sounds, check out DraftKings Sportsbook and you can get in on these props.
I have a great DraftKings story to share really quick.
Ooh.
So last night I went to the Coach Prime Season 2 premiere up in Boulder.
Gold carpet?
Yeah, the gold carpet was out. It was fun. Make sure you watch. You might see your boy.
There you go. I thought I heard your voice on the promo. Is
Yep,
that you?
that was me.
Yeah,
That was me.
There it is.
My voice is in the intro twice, so you'll hear me on every episode.
Ooh. Asking questions to Prime?
No, like I got interviewed for the doc.
Oh,
Yeah.
no way.
Yeah,
Damn.
Yeah. So that'll be cool. So I was at that, and I wasn't able to watch the Nuggets game. But every time Nikola Jokic is playing, I bet on him to get a triple-double.
Yep.
So I go home, didn't see any of the game. I get the notification on my phone that they lost, and it didn't even share Nikola Jokic's stats. It was like Jamal Murray, 23 points, 6 rebounds, like Nuggets lose. I was like, damn. I open up Twitter, and the first tweet I saw was like, this is Nikola Jokic's worst game in the last 3 years. Like, well, I was like, oh, I definitely did not win that bet. Never even checked it.
Wow.
Woke up this morning, went on DraftKings, I just like peruse around. I won the bet.
He certainly
Jokic's
did.
worst game in 3 years. He still had a triple-double.
A 20-point triple-double, too,
Yeah.
with 15 rebounds. That is just insane. Shows how good he is. And if you want to get in on these bets, use the code DNVR when you sign up to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet. So, again, if you like anything this weekend, make sure to go to DraftKings, use the code DNVR. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Licensee partner, Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources.
A shout out to our friends over at Factor Meal Kits. I love Factor meal Kits, and the reason why is I hate meal prep. I was talking to one of my friends at the gym, and like literally love working out, love the pump, love listening to music, hate meal prep. So Factor Meal Kits gets the meal prep out of the way, and the great thing about them is, it's great for the holidays as well. If you're too busy with the holiday plans to cook, but you want to make sure you are eating well, with Factor, skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up, while still getting flavor and nutritious quality you need. Factor fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat up and enjoy. I don't know about you, but that's perfect for me, especially after the gym. In between here and the gym, like it's always good to throw in some Factor meals, get a good nutritious meal, and not have to worry about it. So head to factormeals.com/DNVR Broncos 50, and you get 50% off your first purchase.
Before Factor Meals, my version of meal prep was just putting DoorDash on the first page of my app.
And now you have to do is open the fridge.
Yep, exactly.
All right, let's continue to break down this game, and I want to throw some props your guys' way and see how you think this game is going to unfold. And let's start with this overrated Justin Herbert. 255 passing yards for him. 255.5 yards. Does he hit that, Todd?
Dang, I'm gonna say under.
Under.
Wait, so what's the question?
Does he have
under.
over or under 255 passing yards?
Herbert?
Yep.
On Sunday.
Yep.
I thought you said we were doing over-unders for Thursday Night Football, so I got really confused. Over.
Over. I'm going to go under here. The thing that scares me is I think the Chargers are going to be behind at some point in this game, and the Chargers just completely abandon the run when they're given any opportunity, and that could lead to some overs here. But, man, Justin Herbert, I mean, they tried to give him all the weapons in the world, and without Mike Williams, it's just made him a one-man show. So then that leads me to the next question of that one-man show. The over-under for Keenan Allen. What would you set it at?
52.5.
Oh, you're going to like this one.
I was going to say 60 yards.
85.5 yards for Keenan Allen.
Here's the thing. This is PS2's week to get picks.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Because Justin Herbert does not look anywhere else.
Nope.
So I guess this is going to probably be a game planning decision, whether they're just going to tell Pat, like, look, you can allow him to catch 5-yard comebacks and slants.
Yep.
Just don't let him get the big chunks, because essentially that's their offense.
Yep.
Or you can tell Pat, all they do is throw comebacks and slants to Keenan Allen. Go ahead and try and jump one.
Right.
But to me, it's something you kind of have to decide before the game. Are you going to let them kind of matriculate a little bit and take away the big play, which is a lot of NFL defense in today's game? Or are you going to say, like, let's try and take Keenan Allen away entirely?
I say Pat, go get the picks.
Yeah.
Me too, but
I say shut him down, because the thing about it is he's going to need, he wants to get that many yards, he's going to need at least like 8 catches on Pat. And I don't think that's happening.
I think last week or 2 weeks ago, Herbert was like 14 of 15 targeting Keenan Allen. It was insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of insane, the numbers that he has in 3 of the past 4 games, Keenan Allen, I'll go by targets. 14 targets, 16 targets, 16 targets, and last week 9 targets. In terms of catches in the past 4 weeks, 11 targets, 11 catches, 10 catches, 14 catches, then last week 5 catches. 4 weeks ago in terms of receiving yards, 175 receiving yards, 116 receiving yards, 106 receiving yards, and then 58 receiving yards. So you look at those and you're like, oh my God, that's all they're going to do is throw to him. He's going to hit that over. But those are the only 3 games he's hit that over in the past 9.
What did the Patriots do?
Well, Bill Belichick is famous for like just taking one player out. Like, your best player is not going to beat us.
Yep.
They beat him by 6 points, but it wasn't Keenan Allen.
There's a great
wasn't.
clip of him talking to Chad Ochocinco.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you might as well just take the pads off. You're not getting shit today. And Ocho's like, what? Come on. Like, just let me play a little bit. He's like, nope.
And that's what Bill did this past week, because in the 3 games leading up to the Patriots game, Keenan Allen was averaging 15 targets, 12 catches, and 140 yards. Bill held him to 5 catches for 58 yards.
Yep, that's what we need.
That has taken him away. And if Bill Belichick can do that, Pat Surtain, he can do that.
Yes.
Well, again, I haven't watched the film, but I would guess that they just bracketed him. And if you're going to do that, you don't need Pat to do it.
But why not have Pat do it?
I mean, because you'd like to bracket Keenan Allen and then just put Pat on the other side. Say, well, you're not going there and you're also not going here.
Yeah. Only thing I'm thinking about is that last game, even against the Texans, we played a lot of zone. We weren't in very much man.
I know.
It's true.
And so there were holes in our secondary. And if we're playing zone, if Keenan Allen runs out of Pat's zone, then it's on to the next man.
I realized that the Texans only ended up scoring, 22 points?
Yep.
Yeah.
It didn't feel good, though. Like, I hated that Stroud's buying time and finding those holes in the zone. Like, I would prefer to not do that again.
And it's because it was disastrous in the first half. They held them to 13 points, but 259 yards of offense is what the Texans had in the first half.
You hear him still trying to get disastrous in there, guys?
Yes, I'm
He
gonna
won't
force that
give it
down your
up.
throat.
He's not giving up that it was disastrous.
Wait, hey. I was hoping that this went over your head. You're always there to catch me.
I got you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, let's move on to some Broncos ones.
Let's do it.
Cortland Sutton, over under 58.5 receiving yards.
Over. Yeah.
This Chargers
They're trash.
secondary. I mean, in the first half of last week's game, guys were running free against the Broncos defense left and right. That's like watching Chargers week in and week out in the first and the second half. Got all that. Cortland could get that in one catch this week.
I think so. I hate watching football as a defensive player and see a guy running scot-free because I'm like, whose man is that? Like, who's supposed to be on this guy?
That's what I say when Zach says things like "force it down your throat." Whose man is that?
Oh man, you were waiting on that one. Ryan, you taking the over as well?
Yeah. I mean, I think they've finally figured out the Sutton rule all these years later. Just throw it up for him.
Yep. And that's certainly what the game plan's been. In fact, first two plays. That's what it was this past week. And a lot of people are killing Russ for saying you only have eyes for number 14. If you think that's on steroids for what Justin Herbert does with Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's no doubt Cortland Sutton has some sort of trust factor or something with Russ because it's impressive just how much Russ trusts him. Jerry Jeudy.
If you remember the first 4 weeks of last year too, we were saying like Cortland's the only person Russ trusts.
Yep.
And then that trust kind of fell apart. It feels like now we're back to it. And you're about to segue to Jerry Jeudy. The unfortunate thing is like, for whatever reason, I don't think Russ trusts him at all.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the one main reason would be because obviously Jerry's had trouble with drops in his career. Feels like it hasn't been as big of a deal over the last couple years, but the question is it happening in practice? And that's where, trust is really built between a quarterback and a wide receiver.
So interesting. Yesterday we talked to Russ on the podium, and he was asked about Jerry Jeudy and being wide open and how he deals with when Jerry's frustrated from not getting the ball, especially when he's wide open. And Russ went the Russ route of just complimenting Jerry. He said he has an unbelievable ability to get wide open, which of course made fans just lose their mind because it's like, why don't you throw to him? And then he was pressed specifically on the 4th and 1, and Russ immediately defended it with saying, well, they were in cover 2, so pretty much couldn't go there. And Russ was very defensive over that. And then another thing Russ was very defensive over, he was asked about the communication on offense because Sean Payton went out of his way on Monday to say how the communication on offense is really bad and how at this point of the season, it's very troubling. Those were the words that Sean Payton used. Yesterday, I asked Russ about the communication. He said, it's fine. And I think there's a big disconnect there between Sean and Russ. And I think if the Broncos win, it's going to keep that below a bubble. It's just going to simmer below the surface. If they start losing even more, we're just going to see this turn into a full boil, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out. But one of the guys, in order to win, you're going to have to get Jerry Jeudy involved. Yeah. So 48.5 receiving yards, Todd.
I'm going to say under. I think there's some kind of like personality beef there. I don't know if Jerry said something to him one time about not getting the ball and Russ didn't like it. Or Jerry tried to walk into his office last year and he was like, "Get out of here! You're not supposed to go back down with the players. Like you're not supposed to be here." But there's something
People are
there.
gonna take that shit and run with it.
But I don't.
Flipping it for that.
No.
But I don't know, man. But it just feels like feels like almost on purpose. And I hope it ends this week. But I don't know, man. It's unique.
Remember when Melvin Gordon complained about not getting the ball, and then Nathaniel Hackett was like, "I'm gonna get him the ball."
Yeah.
We were all like, "What?" I think that might actually happen this week. Russ is going to be like, all right, you want to see what happens if I target Jerry? Here you go. And it might end up working out great. The thing that's so crazy about this, and I don't care about the 4th down one because they got the first down. Like, Russ actually waited, I think, almost as long as he absolutely could. And he really needed to wait like 1/10 of a second more.
Yeah.
Before he would have seen that was wide open. But he waited and waited and waited. Javonte gets that great cut block over there, and the guy's going to get back up. And he just says, like, I have to take this. That was the right play. The one that kills me is 2nd down in the red zone on the last drive of the game,
right,
where Jerry does the little outside in shake and bake, wide open, 5 feet in front of your face. That one hurts me. And it's perplexing to me because that's why I was so excited when the Broncos drafted Jerry Jeudy. That exact route. Like, that's what I was playing in my head because it's so hard to get open in the red zone. And we've seen like guys like Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, Tank Dell even this year. You can go down the list. Like, when you score touchdowns as a wide receiver in the red zone, it's because you just cook whoever's guarding you.
Yep.
And Jerry Jeudy's like elite at just cooking someone. And I don't understand why in the entire Jerry Jeudy era in Denver, we haven't seen that be like the primary read and it work once.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
I can't wrap my head around that. So like, I would love if Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, Jerry Jeudy all got together this week and were like, okay, when we get 1st and goal from the 5, we're going to isolate you and just let you cook. And Russ, stay with him. Like, I'm begging for this. So maybe I'm trying to speak it into existence. I'll take the over.
It sounds like it.
I'll try to take the over on Jerry this week.
Well, the past 8 weeks, Jerry's hit that literally every other week.
Okay.
And what did he do last week? Last week, he did hit it, crazy enough. 3 catches for 51 yards. It could have been, 5 catches for 150 yards if Russ finds him on 2 of those plays, for 2 touchdowns as well. But this week, it says he's probably not going to hit it if he continues to follow that trend. You know something I'm perplexed on? How neither of you are on a golf course today. It's 60 degrees in December.
I wore my big jacket. Didn't even check the weather.
And then sweating in the car.
I was in the elevator. Now he's like, I'm surprised you wore that. It's supposed to be 65 today. I was like, what?
I know. I stopped checking the weather as well, and I'm wearing a little thicker of a shirt. But if you want to get out on the golf course, make sure to check out Golf Passport over at ColoradoAvidGolfer.com to get your golf passport. What the golf passport is it's Colorado's #1 golf discount program for 22 straight years. You get 60% off golf across the state, including the Ridge, our favorite common ground, Keystone, and more. You get a free golf cart every single time when you use a golf passport, and there's other discounts at the PGA Tour Superstore, Golf Tech, and numerous indoor simulator facilities. So unless you're John Rahm, and did you see the news that just came out on him?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Leaving for, but not really leaving. So
this
now
is
this
what
puts
I don't understand.
The merger. I think it means it puts the merger of PGA and Live up in question.
Yeah.
But do you see the deal that he just signed?
$500 million.
Yep, for 3 years. How about that?
Dang.
So unless you're John Rahm, getting a discount on golf's a good idea. So
sure.
check out ColoradoAvidGolfer.com. Prices increase on January 1st, so you have about 4 weeks to get on it. Check it out over at ColoradoAvidGolfer.com.
Also, a shout out to Primo Hoagies. I was out in Philly this week, and
I can tell with the accent.
Oh yeah. Previously, when I went out to Philly, I had to basically eat a cheesesteak for every meal because I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get this when I go back to Colorado. So I need to savor it while I'm here. But then Primo Hoagies came along and really solved that problem for me. Whether you want Philly cheesesteak, what was like roast pork that James hooked you up with?
Yep, with
Broccoli Rob.
Broccoli Rob, yeah.
Yep. Whether it's that, they have a great Italian. They've got a bunch of great sandwiches on that vintage hoagie roll. So get over to our friends over at Primo Hoagies and try out their delicious sandwiches.
And actually, one more thing about the Golf Passport. Use code DNVR10, and that's going to get you even more of a discount. So check all of those out. And let's check out the games in the AFC West. And before we do, do we have our AFC West standings? Because Henry picked up a game on us last week. He was the only
took
one
the
to see
Packers.
the Chiefs go down. Don't worry, he's still bottom of the standings for us. Ryan, you're still up top, and we'll get to those exact standings in just a minute. But first, let's get to the rest of the AFC West and pick these games. The Chiefs are playing a big one against the Bills this week, but let's get to a worse game first, and let's talk about the Raiders taking on who are the Raiders? They're taking on the Vikings in Las Vegas, I believe, and the Raiders are 3-point dogs.
Oh,
And the Vikings are sticking with Josh Dobbs. You see Josh Dobbs and the Vikings beating the Raiders and totally knocking them out of the playoffs.
I don't think the Raiders. I think they've used all their good juju from the new coaching staff.
Yep.
So I think they're finished now. I hope the coach comes back next year. I have faith in him.
Faith in them in a good way or a bad way? A Raiders way or a Broncos way?
A linebacker's way.
In a linebacker's way. Yeah, I would say that for sure. But I don't think they have enough juice to beat the Vikings.
I want Antonio Pierce to come to Boulder because he almost got busted for cheating at ASU, and I like that about him.
Like recruiting?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he actually did, but kind of just slipped out the back door type of thing.
It's smart. It
like,
clearly
"You can't
works
give it."
for him.
Yeah, exactly.
He pulled a Pete Carroll right as the sanctions come in. I'll see you guys later.
He's like, "Oh, this house is on fire? That's weird. I just happened to just leave."
If you're not cheating, you're not trying, as my mom always said growing up. And so here's our AFC West picks. Ryan, you're in first, 29-13.
Damn,
Your boys
I'm
in
good.
second, 27-15. Todd, you're one game
Fourth.
behind Alexis at
Yeah.
26-16. You're 25-17. You can't let Henry get you.
No.
That's the only thing, Todd.
The
Gotta
fact that
keep it
we're all
rolling.
over 500 is actually pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
Even picking straight up, I realize that it's a lot easier than picking up against the spread, but the NFL is really unpredictable. For 5 people to all be over 500 is actually pretty impressive.
Especially when the only, as the standings would show, the only more gimme game this year, picking straight up, has been the Chiefs. Every other team within one game of 500 or 500. So really any game can go any way. And that's why I'm picking the home team. I would pick the Vikings if this were in Minnesota, but since it's in Las Vegas, I'll go the Raiders in this one. And I think I'm going to pick up a game on you guys in this.
Nice. Yes,
go-
I am officially picking the Vikings.
Yep, that's what I thought.
The Vikings have also lost their juice, though. Which sucks.
Yeah, they have. Alexis is picking the Vikings, and Henry is also picking the Vikings. I hope you guys are right, because if the Raiders lose this, they're 5-7 right now. Let's be real, their season's pretty much over.
Yeah.
But if you still have a chance to get to 10-7, then your season's still alive. If they lose this, then there's no chance to get to 10-7, and their playoff hopes are done. So I hope you guys are right on this one. The next game going on at the same time as Broncos Chargers is Bills Chiefs, and this should be a primetime game, but for whatever reason, it's not. The Bills started as a 3-point dog
because
going
both
into
these
Kansas
teams are
City.
mid.
Exactly, it's true. Literally, the Bills are 6-6
Yep.
playing this game. They started as a 3-point dog. Now they're only a 1.5-point dog. So the public is saying, man, the Bills are mid with their record, and they're going to beat the Chiefs. Do you see that happening?
No, I don't.
Damn. I thought
Both
you'd be
these
all
teams
over
are
this.
incredibly flawed, more than they have been in years. And sort of like you were just saying, I would have just gone with whatever the home team is here. Eventually, I think the Chiefs are going to figure out that they should be going down the field before they have to. Have you noticed that at the end of every one of these games, somehow MVS is wide open down the field, but never at any other point in the game are they
Yeah.
even looking there?
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are going to get back to the vertical passing attack soon. Hope they don't. But I think that'll be big for them. I think they do hit a couple in this game, and that's the difference.
It's a good, and isn't that what MVS is only good at? I mean, besides dropping those, but he is a deep threat.
That's why they got him. I
Yeah.
mean, he was essentially the deep threat to replace Tyreek Hill, which sounds silly. But they did need someone who could run really fast straight, and that's what he does well.
Do you see Tyreek Hill just continuously,
Yeah, going
after every
crazy.
single Chiefs loss, he's on Twitter, pretty much trolling them and with a subtle emoji?
I thought he was defending them the other night.
Oh, with the PI?
Yeah.
Like lack of PI?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Huh. Did the did the Broncos luck out with that PI call? Lack of PI call.
No, that was like just a slight balance from the universe. We're not even close to getting back to even on the Chiefs. They have been helped way too many times. That was just like one notch back to the center.
It's true. Todd, do the Chiefs lose?
No, I feel like the Chiefs are Josh Allen's kryptonite. And for the time being, I think Patrick Mahomes occupies a piece of his mind, and he wants to beat them. But the way their season's going now, this doesn't feel like the year that he takes the next step and overcomes his losing streak or losses to the Chiefs. So I think they'll have mental reign over him for at least one more year.
So now the big I agree with you guys. I think the Chiefs will win.
If I was a Bills fan though right now, or hosting a Bills podcast, I would be saying like, if Josh Allen can beat Patrick Mahomes, like that can be the like palate cleanser that this season needs.
Just like the Broncos.
Yep.
When they were sitting at 2-5 after coming off a win against the Packers, that win, as we all said, changed nothing. Mm-hmm. But then beating the Bills or beating the Chiefs, I don't care that the Broncos were then 3-5. That changed everything for them. So especially if they do it in Arrowhead, I agree with you. Alexis also agrees with you that the Chiefs are going to win, and this is. I guess Henry's trying to chase here because he's going with the Bills on the road here. And here's the question about
Picking
this
against
game.
the Chiefs 2 weeks in a row is the only one. Hopefully it works again.
Yep, I hope so. Well, that's the question. Do you hope it works? Who should the Broncos be cheering for here? Because I honestly don't know. And I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. So why we ask the question is right now Broncos are 2 games back of the Chiefs. Only 2 games back with 5 games to go. Chiefs going to have to go 2-3 down the stretch. Broncos 5-0 for the Broncos to officially jump them.
Broncos have tiebreakers over them, though.
Yeah. So the Broncos could go 4-1, which is definitely a possibility. But the Chiefs have to go 2-3. And Todd, as we've talked about, they have to lose this game if there's any shot of the Broncos catching the Chiefs. So that's why you would absolutely be rooting for the Bills. But then on the flip side, the Broncos are sitting with the Bills at 6-6 right now. There's like 7 teams, either 6-6 or 7-5 for 3 wild card spots. So many teams right there. Do you just want the Chiefs to win, kind of say bye to the division if you're the Broncos, and say just help eliminate a team in this wild card race?
I normally wouldn't support this, but they go Bills, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals, Chargers. They are not losing 3 of those games. There's no chance in hell that they're losing 3 of those games. You'd be lucky if they lost 1 of the last 4, based off of just the matchups. So here's how you do it. You still emotionally root for the Chiefs to lose because trying to tell yourself to do anything else is just not going to work.
Of course.
But you place a bet on the Chiefs to win. And then you get a win-win situation.
Yeah. And just like we talked about earlier in the week and you just broke down there, that's the right thing. You don't have to be rooting for the Chiefs to win. Root for the Bills to lose. Because that's something we talked about earlier in the week, Todd, is of all of these teams that are 6-6 or 7-5, the one that could absolutely make a run is the Bills. When you have Josh Allen, you have those weapons. They've been a top team in the AFC for many years now. So let's just eliminate those guys and not have to worry about them.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
One less team to worry about.
I
also feel like Henry has to choose against the Chiefs every week because he's branded as a Chiefs lover.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's doing this to gain back the trust of the people.
It's working.
Well,
at least on me.
And let's see where he goes next week because he was making the argument yesterday, 2 days ago, I think, that the Broncos against the Patriots was a sneaky competitive game. Is that kind of what he was saying?
That's what he was saying.
It's the NFL.
You buy? Oh, don't give me this, Ryan. Don't back him up here.
It's the NFL.
The Patriots are so bad. I saw a stat yesterday that the 0-16 Browns scored 14 points per game. This Patriots team is scoring 12.5 points per game.
They're terrible.
When's the last time you thought a team was bad and they played the Broncos, and you walked away being like, "Yep, just as bad as I thought they were."
That's fair.
Probably the Cardinals when Von Miller said we're gonna whoop their ass.
Oh, when
That's
Todd
what
Davis
it
has
is.
pick
Yeah.
six.
So
Yep.
in 2016,
Oh, it's 17 or 18.
Okay, it's
yeah,
17.
yeah. It was more recent than that.
I think it's
Jeez.
17.
Give him some credit, Ryan.
I mean, Todd was still the captain of the team.
Yeah, I was.
It's true. It's true. And if you want to be the captain of your team, make sure to check out our friends over at Shady Rays, where they'll make you look like a captain with all of the sunglasses they've got. And with ski season, snowboard season here, you want to check out their snow goggles that they've got. Really cool and so many options. And the best thing, if you buy 2 or more pairs and use the code DNVR, they're going to give you 50% off your purchase. They have over 250,000 5-star reviews. So check them out, get a massive discount, and they have a free return policy. If you want to exchange them, return them within 30 days, you get to do that. No hassles, no questions asked. So it's a great product. It's a great deal, and it's worry-free as well. So check them out over at shadyrays.com and use that code DNVR.
I need to know what team in the AFC has the hardest strength of schedule going forward, because I look at everyone's schedule to be like, okay, who's the team
Yeah.
the Broncos can catch?
Yeah.
And everyone's schedule, including the Broncos, I was like, oh, they don't have to beat anyone.
Yep.
Who has to play people? Or is there anyone to play?
It's
Like, if you don't have to play the Eagles or Niners, you're just fine?
Yep.
That's what it feels like. I mean, it's a great point because literally every other team you look and you're like, oh, they're going to win at least 3 or 4 of their remaining 5 games, including the Broncos, thankfully.
Yep. And shout out to our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing. As a real estate developer, I know how important a roof is. Because if you don't have a roof, you just have a wall. So if you want a nice house and you need a nice roof, check out our friends over at Red Hawk Roofing. They have quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. There's a no obligation roof and property inspection they offer. They offer a free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. Winter's coming, so don't wait to take care of any issues. Leaky roof, you need any help, check out our friends over at redhawkroofing.com.
Boom, there we go. Todd, is there anything you don't do? Football, real estate,
Podcasting.
But yeah,
Podcasting.
podcasting.
Not video games. I don't play a lot of video games.
Wow, dang.
See,
that's it.
the people in the
Maybe a
Madden
couple
League were
with
like,
my kids.
okay, you got to get Todd in there. I was like, I don't think Todd's a
I
Madden
can
guy.
GM for sure. I can GM, yeah.
But I thought you said you were never going to let your son beat you
What do you mean?
in video games.
Oh no, I play with my kids. I just don't play on my own.
Oh, okay,
So I
fair,
do.
fair,
I
fair,
do.
yeah.
I guess to do enough just to
Yeah.
beat them.
So real,
Can you just like come be my defensive coordinator for
For
one
sure.
game?
I got you.
Like earlier when I was asking you about hole coverage, I was really just asking you that for my own benefit.
I got some headsets we can use and everything.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
real quick with hardest strength of schedule left, it goes Houston, Pittsburgh.
No way.
Yeah, Houston.
No way. We have them going
Titans,
5-0.
Houston, Titans, Pittsburgh, Ravens, Browns, Broncos,
Do you trust-
Jets,
Yeah,
Bills.
here's
No.
a source here.
No, I don't.
Just so you guys know, I'm getting it from Sharp Football Analysis. That's what I'm looking at.
Who are they?
They have a website, and that's all I went off of.
Okay, so to fact check, I'm not fact checking you here. We're fact checking
Sharp
Sharp
Football
Football
Analysis.
Analysis. Here is the remaining schedule for the Texans, who apparently have the hardest strength of schedule left. They play the Jets this weekend.
Okay.
They play the Titans the following weekend. They play the Browns the next weekend. First
Winning
winning team.
team.
Yep. They play the Titans the following weekend. And then they finish off with the Colts,
Okay.
a winning team.
There's no shot.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's no shot. But remaining, how
Number 10 or
is
11.
it, are we doing remaining strength?
remaining as
schedule?
of December 7th?
And
Oh, so-
shouldn't that be based off of the records of the teams they're playing?
Well, I guess
100%.
there's 2 winning teams, and the Broncos don't have any winning teams to play besides the
Besides the
Detroit.
Lions, yeah. It's just somehow it stacks up.
no
Yeah.
chance.
Wait, so you said that there's 11 NFC teams ahead of the first AFC team?
Okay, so this is my bad. I got it. They reversed it. So it's actually hard as goes. Ravens, Bengals, Bills, Titans, Patriots, Raiders, Dolphins, Broncos, Jaguars,
Hold on,
Steelers,
hold on,
Chargers,
hold on.
Chiefs,
Okay.
Browns,
So
Jets.
we don't need all
Dolphins.
that. We don't need all that.
So now Houston is the easiest.
It's the
strength
easiest. Yeah. So I had it flipped.
There we go.
That's on me, guys.
schedule. Okay.
I knew something had to be wrong.
It's because I won't say it. I'll talk to you guys. But yeah.
Okay, so Ravens, who do they play?
Here we go. I'm pulling it up right here because this is the hardest one.
Yeah.
Ravens have a bye week this week, so. But
That's
then
easy.
after the Rams,
Okay.
technically winning record.
Yep.
The Jags,
Yep.
winning record. The 49ers.
Yep.
The Dolphins.
Oh, wow.
And then the Steelers.
Yeah.
Winning
Okay,
record.
so they're
Yeah,
sure.
that
In
makes
trouble.
sense.
That makes sense. There we go.
What's crazy is it's actually easier than it seems like, because maybe the Rams are a good team, but not great. Jags might be without Trevor Lawrence, although he's practicing today, which is crazy.
I can't afford that. I'm just moved into second place in my fantasy league, and he's the only good quarterback I have left.
So you need him to play.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Come on, Trev.
And then I guess the Steelers at the end of the season could be playing with the backup, but 49ers and the Dolphins don't beat good teams.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, the Broncos are battling for the last playoff spot. Texans, easiest strength of schedule, right after the Colts. Cleveland Browns are the fourth easiest strength of schedule. Pittsburgh is 7th, and then the Broncos at 9th.
Yeah, I mean, the Broncos can't complain. They
Right.
play one winning team, and it's the Lions.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, take care of your business, and you'll be all right.
Yep.
By the way, I just thought of this because I brought up my fantasy team. This is an insane new thing where every athlete is talking about fans DMing them, complaining about their parlays.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys out of your minds? What is up with that? That's insane to me.
But you don't think they care? The athletes?
Absolutely not.
Of course not. No
Absolutely
way.
not.
There's literally nothing they care about less, but also, like, what are you accomplishing?
Yeah.
Nothing.
You're venting your frustration?
Nothing. You're gonna get blocked. They're not gonna like you.
I just can't imagine my parlay fell one short because I had Todd Davis to get 8.5 tackles and he got 8. Like, I gotta let him know about this.
And it's funny because it's not like the guys know what
Their line is. Yeah.
is. Like, they don't know that at all. Second, it's not like you tell us before so that we could affect it or try to have to. And then you don't cut us in on the profit if we do get it for you. So
Absolutely.
there's
So
no
wait.
incentive for us to actually play better.
It's the way to do it, DMing them. Hey, this is what I bet on you. I'll give you half of it if you actually do it.
If you want them to hit it, I think that's the best way to do it.
Better be betting some big numbers.
Yes, you better be betting a lot.
I bet $5 on you, man. You better do this real quick.
I'll give you $350 if you.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday and the dude said every time he goes under, he gets at least 15 DMs.
Wow.
And he was like an average basketball player.
Dang. So he's getting
Dang.
these 80 times a year.
I mean,
Maybe 40.
no, probably 40,
Yeah.
but it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Todd, was this the thing that you had to deal with?
No, wasn't a thing, and it really wasn't a lot of defensive
Right.
lines that we had anyway. But even for the offensive guys, I didn't hear of anything like that. But I feel like sports betting has become super popular in like the last
Since
2 or 3 years.
2020, yeah.
And I don't even know if defensive tackles, that might be like a new thing this year or maybe
Yeah.
last year. Like that hasn't been around for
It's actually
a
a fun
long
one. Like, I've won on Alex Singleton quite a few times.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I might have to start doing that.
Yeah. Those ones sometimes don't come out until like the morning of a game.
Yeah.
Like right now, you can't even get defensive tackles, but yeah, you can get assisted tackles from a player,
Dang.
total tackles, solo
Solos, yeah.
tackles. Yeah. And like some of these, you're like, Pat Surtain, 2.5 tackles, of course. And then he gets 2, and I'm sure people are sliding into his DMs yelling at him.
Yeah, the one thing I will say to be aware of if you're getting into the betting on tackles game is make sure you know if you're betting on total tackles or solo tackles.
100%.
Because even Henry one day was like, yeah, I got Alex at like 6.5. And I was like, that's definitely solo.
Yeah.
And then I think Alex had 7 solos. in the
There
game.
you go. There you go. All right, let's hop into this game and give our final picks. And you know what that means. That means parting shots presented by Breckenridge Distillery. We've already opened a bottle of Breckenridge Distillery bourbon on set here. And if you want to get in on the action this week, make sure to check out BreckenridgeDistillery.com to see where you can get in on the official bourbon of the Denver Broncos and be rocking and rolling with us this weekend. So check them out, BreckenridgeDistillery.com.
If we get to 300 likes, I'll take a pull straight out of the bottle.
Boom, let's go. Come on, he'll be doing a poll before noon. Hit us with a thumbs up, and let's just get these going in. We've got 5 minutes to get many likes. Man, I was going to join in with you.
Can be done. It can be done.
Oh, let's put it to the test. Hit us with a thumbs up right now, and let's hit Todd getting us fired up right now.
I got it. Hey, get this man turned up, TD. Let's go get this man turned up. But this feel fucking great. It's still fucking great right here, baby. Yeah. Hey, we got to cross the line. It's time to whoop their ass. It's time to whoop their ass. Let's bring it to these boys now. Let's go, y'all. It's all out. Let's go to one. Let's go to one. Broncos on 3. 1, 2, 3. Broncos.
Boom, let's go. Ryan, is this going to be fucking great this weekend?
This is going to be fucking great, Zach.
Zach is on a fucking roll.
He is. Denver Broncos 27. Los Angeles Chargers 17.
Woo, okay, 10-point win. Does it feel that comfortable of a win? Or did the Broncos get like a touchdown at the end and pull away?
No, this one feels comfortable.
Well, you just said, like, how often have the Broncos won a game and you're like, damn, yeah, they made that team look bad. This weekend, baby.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to make them look bad, but they're going to be in control.
I love that so much. Todd, do you have that same level of confidence?
I do. I have the score at 24-20, and I think it ends on a defensive stop. Justin Herbert's going down the field. They need a touchdown. They don't get it. Time runs out. Game over.
I love that. I wish I felt the same way about this game as you guys
24.
did. The closer we get to this game, the more worried I am about this game. I'm not worried about the Chargers. I just am a little worried. Are the Broncos coming back to earth here? Because even if they lose this game, they're still 5-2 in their past 7 games. That's really good. But at the end of the day, do you trust Sean Payton or Brandon Staley more?
That answers itself.
Do you trust the Broncos at the end of a game or the Chargers at the end of a game?
That answers itself.
And that's why I think this is going to be an extremely close game. But the Broncos know how to win games outside of this past weekend. But they won close games 5 of the past 6 games. They're going to find a way to get this done 21-20.
Oh.
And I don't know if it's a defensive
extra
stop.
point.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a... Wouldn't that be so Charger, though?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the ultimate chargering right there. And I think the Broncos will win this game, but it is going to be a clincher at the end. Everyone's going to be nervous in Broncos
These
country.
teams really do feel like opposites when it comes down to like clutch time.
Yeah.
It feels like
big
they're
time.
like the complete opposite teams all the way around.
100%. I agree with you. And Alexis agrees that the Broncos are going to win pretty easily here, 21-20. And Henry's trying to make up all the games this weekend.
Oh, my God, Henry.
He's going Chargers
Wow.
to not only win, but Ryan, what did you say about your 27-17 score? What does that mean the Broncos did?
They controlled the football game.
Yeah.
That's what Henry thinks is going to happen to the score of 27-17.
Wow.
Chargers.
Henry, what are you doing here?
I know. So Henry is picking...
I think Henry has had some power recently to, like, jinx things. So...
At the end of the day,
let's
though,
roll.
we hope Henry's picks are wrong. If you have to pick one person to be wrong, it's Henry's
Yes.
picks, since he's the only one to pick the Chargers. And you hear, who are you picking?
It's probably going to be Broncos 40-10.
40-10. Let's go. And, man, that would be some good momentum heading into Detroit the next
Hopefully
week.
that's more correct than your strength of schedule.
I was correct. I just didn't know what side I was
It was the
reading.
opposite of correct.
I'm from down south where everything is like opposite, okay?
If the Chargers
What are
win
you reading in
40-10.
Hebrew?
Leave me alone.
You're supposed to start reading from the top of the page, not the bottom.
I did, but it had an asterisk at the very bottom of the page where it says easiest to hardest, and I was like, damn you.
Let's leave you here alone and get out of here. We will be tuning in with you guys before the game for our final predictions and everything else. Tune into YouTube DNVR Sports around 1:40. Oh, we also have a couple of super chats we want to hit. Let's get to those right now. From Lawyer D says, hear me out. I know each play has different reads, but since Sutton is the 50-50 catcher and Russ trusts him, how about whenever there are 11 or 12 personnel, the first read is always Judy, then Sutton?
Yeah, I mean, what would make almost more sense is, and it's never going to be this simple, but it's like if it's man, you're looking, especially if it's single high man, you're looking for Cortland. If it's zone, then you're looking for Jerry to find those spots. But the problem is Jerry hasn't become that guy yet. But that's who you need him to be. It's the guy who just we talked about Devontae Smith. Like, they look similar. They run routes similarly. Come from the same school. Devontae Smith is just like a wizard at knowing where the opening is going to be. Jerry also can cook in man coverage.
Yep.
So maybe if it's too high man, then you're looking for Jerry. If it's one high man, then you're looking for Courtland. But it's never that simple.
Yeah, I think I always remember how the Patriots used to set up their offense, and they made it very vanilla. They were used to put, wide receiver at 3 if it was man to man. They would go to Gronk on the outside, tight end versus linebacker. But if it was zone, then you have a linebacker on a very explosive wide receiver. Okay, we're going to take that matchup. That should be what the Broncos do. Leave Courtland by himself, put Jerry Jeudy at 3, and based on what the defense gives you, either they go with Courtland on the outside or you go with Jerry Jeudy right there in the middle.
Yeah, and
sure would be nice to have Greg Dulcich.
Oh man, would it? He's still a couple of weeks away. I don't want to overcorrect so much so where I'm like, Russ, you can't throw to Courtland's son.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he clearly trusts him. You just have to find a way to get Russ to look at Jerry occasionally. So I don't need to say like Jerry's your number 1 read on every single time, but maybe do it exactly what you're doing. Set it up where there are times where Russ should look to Jerry first.
I just want in the red
Courtland,
zone so badly.
Courtland's going to be wide open on those plays.
It's so true.
He's going to be staring down Jerry. Courtland's going to be like...
It's so true.
Courtland triple coverage and Jerry just running down the edge by himself.
Just give me those goal line
man.
zig and zag routes and just, it's going to work.
And last one from Natty Zola says, thanks for the great coverage, guys. You make it fun to be a Broncos fan. Tyreek Hill is plus 1,600 to win MVP. Seems like great risk reward. Your take? I mean, the value is definitely there.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out Natty. He's the best.
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah. Love Natty. And what the thing, though, with this is those are great odds. You're just betting on if a non-quarterback's going to win this award. But if you can get 1,600 for a guy that could get 2,000 receiving yards for the first time ever?
Are people really going to cast their ballot for Brock Purdy?
No. I don't think so.
I think he has to break the record, though. If he doesn't break the record, I don't think he's MVP. But if he does break the record, I think there'll be a strong push for him to be the MVP.
You know what's also going to happen if he breaks the record? People are going to say, oh, Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Like the quarterback that's been throwing him the ball.
This is such a problem. It's like, no disrespect to Brock Purdy, who I think is very solid. But if you're picking him to win MVP, you don't know ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how else to put that.
Look at the passes he's making.
And, like, it's just, Kyle Shanahan is amazing. And he also has Debo and Christian McCaffrey to work with. Like, we knew this was happening when they traded for Christian McCaffrey. So that's no disrespect to Brock Purdy, who is doing a great job at executing what he's asked to be done. But he is not the most valuable player in the league. You could make a case for Tyreek much easier.
Yeah.
You definitely could.
I wish they split up receiving yards to where he caught the ball, that goes to the quarterback, and then everything after that, it goes to him, because his numbers would be through the roof, over anybody else.
Oh, Tyreek's would be insane, and Brock Purdy's would have pretty low numbers because he's throwing passes 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Where's Christian McCaffrey in all this?
Right there. I think he's right behind Tyreek Hill. I think those are the only 2 non-quarterbacks in the race.
So he scored a touchdown almost every week, right?
Yep,
Yeah,
only
except for
one week
one.
that he hasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a good bet too.
Yeah, could be.
And if you want to get into who people are going to vote for.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
So check out us at 1:40 on Sunday, where we're going to be hitting you with the pregame show. Make sure to tune in with us after the game when we're talking about a 7-6 Broncos team potentially being 1 game out of the top of the AFC West. How crazy is that? Thanks so much for rolling with us, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Sunday.
We all silly like the mayor.